Welcome to another adventure with Getting Lost. As you can see now, we are actually at a very natural place, which is the Sungei Buloh Nature Reserve or Sungei Buloh Wetland Reserve, and we're going to explore this area here to see a class, of nature that we don't normally get to see in our normal life. So join me after the intro for that. Welcome back, and here we are again at the Sungei Buloh Wetland Reserve, and you can see this wide expanse of tidal ponds here. At the moment now it's mostly mud, and what we can enjoy, we can't really see much in the mud at the moment, but what we can do is we can actually keep walking along the pathway that goes around the tidal ponds of the Sungei Buloh tidal ponds. And here, as we continue walking, we see, look at that, it's a monitor lizard. And because this area here is so natural and so deep in the forest, the monitor lizard, the water monitor lizard, will also be a very big one. And look at that. The length of the lizard is almost 1/3 of the pathway, and that is one big monitor lizard. But as I go closer to it, monitor lizard will hide, will go away. But this is the area where the monitor lizard was on the road, and it's probably somewhere in the bushes here now. I can't actually see the monitor lizard now, but just imagine, it was here, 1/3 of this pathway was the length of that lizard, and that was a big lizard, a big water monitor lizard. Or was it a Malayan monitor lizard? I can't really tell from this distance, but we just continue along the pathway, and what happens is we'll come to the aerial tower. It's one of those towers along in this area here, where it gives you a aerial view of the tidal ponds. And even as we are starting to climb up here, you can have a look here of the mud area here, or the tidal pond area. Look at that. It seems to me there looks like there is actually a land bridge here that I can actually cross over, but unfortunately, if not mistaken, they actually block the area for me to cross, so I'm not able to cross here at the moment. But still, the view from here is quite nice, and as you can see, and you actually have a very good view of the area here. And in the distance, you can't actually see much, because in the distance there's actually Lim Chu Kang area, and there's not much high rise at the area there. And what's happening now? We are actually walking along this area here, and this brings us to another of the area here, where you can actually have a look across the mud to see some of the wildlife here. And one of the features of this place is that they actually hide your body, so that you don't actually scare away the birds. And if you actually look in the distance there's actually some birds there enjoying the mud, or looking for food in the mud. That's very interesting, isn't it? you can actually observe the normal interaction between the birds, how they interact with each other, and how they search for food. And if you look at the mud in front of this hut here, you'll notice what type of food they're looking for. They're actually looking for sea snails, and these snails is a food source for them. And I'm sure they also dig up the mud to actually find other food source in the mud. But it's very interesting to just sit here and just to look at them. Like I said, the class of nature here is totally different from what you normally see in 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 all the other parks in Singapore. You don't see the level of nature as you can see here. And even if you look at the puddle of water there, there's something in the water. Look at that. You actually have another mud skipper. So the mud skipper, since it was hiding in the mud earlier, came out so that it can breathe air. And then later, it will hide back in the water to hide from any like predatory birds that will think of him as food. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to keep walking along here until we reach back to the wetland center earlier that we walked past earlier. So like I said, it's a big circle, but just keep walking and we'll finally find the circle. We'll finally find it. And like I said earlier, the fencing doesn't look very sturdy, so you will have to be careful not to lean on it. And we're coming to one of the platforms here that actually opens up to the river. And here, like you can see, is still mangrove swamp. Earlier, I heard something going into the water, but I couldn't find out what it was. But it seems like it was quite a big something that went in there, because there was a big sound in the water. But anyway, so this is another river that actually is at the Sungei Buloh Wetland Reserve. The name of this river is called the Sungei Buloh. And here, look at that. It's just another river. Anyway, so here was a platform that we walked on earlier. I couldn't find what went into the water earlier. I suspect that it could have been a water monitor lizard. But anyway, we just keep walking along. And look, what did we find? We find a squirrel. Okay, normally when I'm walking around and if I see a squirrel, normally the squirrel would have hidden himself on the other side of the tree, and I couldn't see it. But here, the squirrel is not afraid of humans and is just walking up the tree slowly, not hurriedly at all, which I find quite interesting, quite amazing. And if you look across here, you'll notice there's actually some kelongs in the water. So kelongs are places where people actually farm fish. And we are actually at another platform here. And at this platform, you can actually look into the Straits of Johor. So right in front of us now is actually the Straits of Johor. And the Straits of Johor actually separates Singapore from Malaysia. And what we're going to do is we're going to continue walking around here until we see something interesting. And look, what's that in the water? It looks a bit interesting. This was the area earlier when I told you, when I first came here, I noticed there was a very funny smell, a very animal scent in the area. And this is the one that caused the animal scent. It's actually, if you look at that, that's actually the tail of a crocodile. But unfortunately, I was waiting for half an hour and the crocodile didn't move at all. But that's actually the tail of the crocodile there. So we did actually find the crocodile, but no sea otters. But it's actually a very interesting find. Look at that, a real life crocodile. Hopefully in the future, if I come back here, I can get a better video of the crocodile. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Anyway, so this brings us to the end of our adventure here at the Sungei Buloh Wetland Reserve. Like I said, you come here, you can see a class of nature that's above what you can normally see in other parts of Singapore. And here I really enjoyed myself, and I really saw lots and lots of different things that really surprised me and really interesting. And if you like what you saw here, then come down here and visit the nature reserve. It's free. Anyway, before we go, please do me a favor. Please help me by liking my video, by clicking the thumbs up button, sharing my video, and also subscribing to my channel. And also, don't forget to click the bell icon to get the latest notification. And lastly, but the most important thing, the thing that you have to do is to join me for my next adventure. I will see you there. Bye bye.